where did you find, where was the information about your online book?
Email.
On the email.
It should be an email and give you a link to copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And two
Alright.
people, they didn't have email addresses for at first. Manisha, do you know about that?
Whose email addresses?
Yeah, does there anybody that didn't get an email with the book link in it? Did you not get one, Jason? Jason didn't get the email with the book link so he can access the book.
Okay, let me check with Nicole because I know she sent those out.
Yeah, and there was just a couple people, they didn't have email addresses at first, and I don't know if that's one of them.
Michelle,
Yep.
when Manisha logged out, when she stopped sharing the screen, Brandon lost his video, so he's working on it right now with Brian. That's
Oh,
where I
okay.
went over to help him, so they're trying to figure it out.
Okay, perfect. And when Tom gets back, I think he's the only one. I need him to ask for permission for, Tom, I need you to get on and do the instructor lounge. Just set it up and then they'll have to approve it. You're on mute, I think.
All right, and go ahead and do that now.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that now. I don't think it takes but just a minute, does it, for the rest of you?
Yeah.
And I think they said, and the other
Yeah,
name, I don't think was with us yesterday.
I'm logged in.
Okay. Because a couple of you that I first said didn't even have accounts already logged on to it, so. Since a couple of you, could everybody access their book last night?
Yep.
Except for Jason? Anybody else not be able to access their book?
Yep.
Everybody else could? Could you do
Yes.
it, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, since Jason hasn't read yet, I am going to let you, that's why I want you to be able to get on the instructor lounge.
Yes, that's what I'm
I
trying.
want you to read.
I'm
Huh?
trying to.
I'm locked out of the instructor lounge right now.
Well, as
I
soon
could-
as Alice gets back, we can ask her what's going on. She should be back at 2. So
Okay,
she's not
'cause
on right now.
I tried to re-log in. It kept giving me, so I asked for the password. I'm not receiving emails to even reset the password or anything.
Yeah, we'll definitely, that way we'll get her to help us as soon as she comes back. So we will wait and let me see what chapters you're supposed to read tonight. There may have just been one, so it won't be so bad.
Yeah,
So,
but that,
That's not too bad. You can live with that. Let me let me see what tomorrow's is. Well, this is just today's. Let me see. I want to make sure it's not too bad for you. But I want you, once we're able to, now I'm getting a pop-up. Goodbye. Okay. Once we're able to get on the instructor lounge, for the ones that couldn't get on there, you should be able to be approved today. So get on there and tell me 3 things that you learned from each chapter. Just 3 things. So that's what I want you to do tonight on the instructor lounge. So for what you
Michelle.
read, yes,
Sorry, who didn't receive the PDF?
Jason King,
That's it?
yes,
Okay.
I think so. Anybody else not received their email?
And Jason, can you
So
confirm
that
your
way,
email address in the chat, please?
You want me to tell it to you or put it on chat?
You can put it in the chat.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Michelle.
oh, that's okay. I just want to make sure they can all get on and read.
excuse me, Michelle.
You know,
I'm sorry, I had to take a call with the office. You said tonight's chapters were which one?
oh, I've got to look them up. I'm not sure, but I want you, since Jason couldn't get on, we're not going to talk about them until tomorrow. Tonight, you're just going to, the chapters you read last night, you're
Yes.
going to write down 3 things you learned from the chapter. So that way Jason can read his and just post what he
Where
learned.
exactly do you
Okay,
post that?
It is under, that's what I'm logging on right now. So if I need to show you, I can. Because it popped up. Whoop. And there should be a Teaching Techniques 1 General or something like that she made. Let me see what it was called. I honestly don't remember from yesterday. That's so sad. But I looked at it. Let me get down to hours. There we are. FTI. Once you get to the website, see if mine will let me in now. It's just going really slow. Slow. Now on mine, before I even log in, across the very top, it says Instructors Lounge.
Mhm.
And then you clicked on Instructors Lounge.
Yep.
And there should be one that says General Information, Instructor Information.
Yes.
If you click on that one, then you should see Introduction to Teaching Techniques for Adults, January 2021.
Yep.
And you can post it in there because that's where all of our information is.
Okay.
You see it?
Yes.
So when you just go in and you could just post straight to those sites. You can reply, or you see where my quote is. Everybody's just got, I think Brandon has been on there. Tom went on there. Thad, me, and Alice. So anywhere in there, you can even reply to "Welcome to Teaching Techniques" from me, which wherever you want to put it in that area. So I'll be able to read it and we can all read it. Does that work?
Yes.
Can you repeat that again? Because I'm logged in right now and I'm kind of lost.
Oh, that's no problem. Do you see at the top where it said Instructors Lounge?
Yes.
Click on Instructors Lounge.
Okay.
And then what it says General Instructor Information, click on that one.
Oh, okay. I see what we're talking
And
about.
then you'll see Introduction to Teaching Techniques. And some of the
Okay.
stuff is what my guys posted last time we were here.
Okay, I got you.
The icebreakers and information they posted last time. So to make it easier, she just made a play for all of our information so I can go in and read it.
Good.
And they will accept you fast, Tom. At least that's what Alice said. She's going to be telling them to look for it so you can be accepted into the instructor's
Okay,
lounge.
I clicked on the instructor's lounge and tried to follow.
I don't think you've got accepted yet, have you? Have you been accepted?
I am at the register.
Yeah. Once you register, then they should accept you before our class is over. I hear something.
I don't think I have that in here. I'm on here and I've not seen anything. When I push FTI instructor lounge, it just says login. I hit login and then it goes back to the same page.
Have you already registered?
Yeah, I've registered numerous times.
So when you go, yeah. So when she gets in at 2, Alice will ask her and see what's going on.
Okay.
Because when you hit instructor lounge, you should already be logged in. If you're on the LMS, you should be able to see all those links.
Yeah, and I don't have any of them, so something's wrong.
Yeah, something's definitely wrong. And so Donald definitely has something wrong
Yep.
too, right? Okay.
What's happening with mine is the instructor lounge will come up.
Mhm.
I'm locked out again because it released it, but I'm locked out again.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Okay,
figure out what
so
heck
the
is going
main
on.
forum comes up, and then it's under, you said it's under the general instructor information.
Yes.
As soon as I click that, it goes to the login page, or for now it's coming up as you're locked out.
Mine's coming in, like I'm trying to get on the LMS and it's being hard to get along with right now.
It's weird. Mine tells me I'm logged in, but I still don't have that tab that you're talking about. Or when I hit it, it just doesn't pop up right.
That
Really
is,
weird.
what browser are you using? Are you using Chrome or Internet Explorer, or what are you using?
I'm using Microsoft.
So, got an E on it, Internet Explorer?
Yes.
That should work fine then. That's what I'm on right now too. It
Yeah, I
is.
mean, everything's updated. I know that, because they just set me up, like 5 months ago with all this.
Yeah, that's as soon as she gets on, because it may be just some kind of glitch. It's not letting me on the LMS right now. Is anybody else having problems other than us getting on the
I'm
LMS?
on it.
I went on my phone and posted.
No. Oh, so you worked on your phone?
Yeah, it worked on my phone.
Oh,
It's
cool.
just
'Cause
all in the
sometimes that's
same
what they say
app.
can't be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking to see why I can't log on right now. But we do not need the LMS to when we're starting in just a moment. I was trying to figure out what's going on. I hear a lot. Who's yelling? Somebody's getting yelled at there. At one of y'all's places, unless TV's on. Okay, let's see if it'll let me log in. Come on. When I click login, mine says for the latest news and updates. Is anybody's doing that? I click the LMS and it won't let me on.
Mine's working. Seems to be okay.
Everybody else okay?
Yeah, mine's working too. Yeah.
Okay, I've got to a login screen.
What error message are
Mine-
you receiving, Michelle?
It's not saying, it's showing LMS 2.0 at the top, and then it says for the latest news and updates. That's all it's doing.
Let me
When
try.
I click login, it goes to that page. I'll try it on a different browser and see if it
You
works.
have, does it say anything about your dashboard?
It says my dashboard, but it won't show me anything but the LMS 2.0.
So try clicking on the dashboard.
Yeah, I did. So far, no go. If not, I'll go. We don't need it. I'm just trying to figure out what's all going on. So I'll be on the same page. Is it Monday again? Feels like Monday. Feels like Monday. Oh, it popped up now. It's good.
Yeah,
Fine.
mine's working now as well.
Okay. Maybe it was something else that was down. Maybe because mine wouldn't come on. It just kept going back to the logo over and over. How about you, Bob? Are you still not on?
I'm good now. It also, yeah, I got everything there. It's working fine now. It's just one of them things.
Yeah, mine wasn't there, and now it's all there. How about you, Donald? Are you still
Yep.
stuck out? Okay. Well, we got 2 things fixed. That's a start. Everybody know what their homework is tonight once we get there?
You haven't told us.
You
yet.
said 3 things we learned from each chapter.
That's right. See, I did tell you. Someone heard me. That's a start.
And that's just from the 2 chapters, or including the chapter you're going to give tonight?
The chapter you're going to give tonight, we can talk about tomorrow. Unless you just feel really energetic, and that's fine. You can put some information in there too. I'm looking to see what the homework is for. I can't remember what chapters on tonight. So let me see. That was too long ago. Let me see at the very. Okay, tonight's chapter is just chapter 10, working with groups. Now, back to day 1. that we did not finish yesterday. But that's okay. We'll finish it today, and we'll probably finish day 2 today. And for some of you, you did all hear that February's class has been, the second half of this part's been postponed. We don't know exactly when they're going to have it yet. Did y'all hear that?
No.
Well, and that's good too, because Canada, I don't think you'll
Nope.
be able to get here by then. They're going to, because of everything that's still going on, we're not going to have the second half, February 23rd. It'll be postponed. And as soon as we find out, we'll tell you. They may go ahead and do teach and tech, who knows? They may do the other half online and see, we'll just figure out what's going on. Okay?
Mhm.
One thing at a time. As y'all know, things change every few minutes with all this that's going on.
Yeah, it's just so hard. Yeah.
It is, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I
So
think by
Yeah.
be at the FTI for a month long because I got so many classes I got to finish up there yet.
oh my gosh, it's gonna be crazy. But nobody knows what yet. Until it's safe, we don't know what's going on. I go share my screen. Hopefully. Can you see my screen over there?
Yeah.
Okay, and I go make it where I can see all of y'all again. I've got so many pop-ups. I don't know why. Still trying to get me on Zoom, and we're on Zoom. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. Now, let me move this over. See if it'll let me move this screen over. Of course not. That'd be too easy. It's taking up all my screens. Okay. Now, you have heard everything, and we talked about this yesterday, so I'm not going to force this on you again. There you go. And what do they value? You've already seen that. Okay. I'm trying to share my, there we go. So I can see everything at one time, and I can see all of you. Trying to get everything on one screen so I can see you and see your faces and see if you're paying attention, or if I'm putting you to sleep, or if you're eating like you were yesterday.
I will be eventually.
I've already told you. That's okay. Just don't eat candy in front of me. No sweets. That's not fair. Okay. Yes, this diabetic. That may change what kind of candy I have in the classroom. So we'll be no, I'm not ever tempted. Okay. What do they value? We've already gone through that. Oh, this is taking forever. I don't know why everything's moving so slow today. I guess just because it wants to. So did y'all learn anything yesterday?
Yeah.
I don't care if it wasn't for me. That's okay. As long as you learned something. It could be from each other, or that your chair's not comfortable. I don't care. Whatever you learn is fine with me. My chair is very comfortable. I had to go buy a new one because I didn't realize how long I was going to be sitting here back when I first bought my office chair. I thought it was going to be something I sit in once every 30 minutes for a week or something. No. So now let's get over here. Sorry, slowly. There we go. Now I can see you, but it'll probably look like I'm looking at the wrong direction. And I know things are really, really weird the way we're doing things now. And we're like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. But hopefully one day in the near future, we will be back in the classroom. And I think it was Bob that said he's going to be there forever because he's got to finish all these classes when he started. But yeah, normally things are a lot different. You can get onto any of these on the LMS if you want to. And I told you last night that I did want you to go in and we're going to research today. Y'all remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So first we're going to go talk a little bit more. And so a few things to remember when you're planning instruction is you are going to, and this is for adults because they think totally different than children do. So you've got to allow for different things. So you want to, they prefer single concepts, easy to understand. They like to integrate emotions into lessons. And what they mean by that, and I'm sure some of you will understand this, the more emotions, the more senses you get involved, the more likely they are to remember. So do any of you hear a song and it reminds you of a memory? Or you smell a smell like butter popcorn and it reminds you of the movie theater? So those are associated with memories and senses. So if you get their emotions involved and you tell them a story that makes the lesson make more sense to them and makes it more real, then that will help. So if you tell them, and this is a horrible example, but it is true. I had one bridge painter. Now, my first story is, well, sometimes you can bring home dangers to your family. So be careful. Okay, that's one example. The next example is I had a bridge painter and he thought he was being as safe as possible with his clothing when he got back from the job site. But some of the different chemicals had seeped into his system. And when his son was born, he was born with birth defects. So that's how. Now, the first story, it's still the same as the second story, but you add some real life situation that makes it make sense. Do you understand that? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So if you add emotions into it, because that actually gets to your emotions, you think about it, and there's plenty, unfortunately, true stories of things that's happened to so many people that you can tell a story and make it more real. So that is going to be into their memory more than just, hey, this is dangerous. That's why it says integrate emotions, real life stories, things that bring it to reality for them. And integrate new ideas with what they already know. If you associate something with something else that's already been taught, they already have set in, like a step by step, it'll make them make more sense to them. If you can tell it in a way as something that's in their reality everyday life, they're going to understand more. If I use examples for something that has nothing to do with the trade, it's harder to understand if I'm teaching the trade. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Y'all look sleepy today. So now that cold weather, that rain, all that snow's got y'all tired over there. Who was it that said it was 70 yesterday? Whatever.
The only 70 here was the 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Right.
Yeah, I could. That's what it looks like. It looks like I'm having a hurricane outside. With the downpour. Enjoy yourself, Jason. Whatever.
It's raining today. It's raining today.
Good for you. I'm glad it's raining today. We can boat together. So that makes more short lectures. Try not, well, sorry. When we're at FTI, you hear me for 8 hours. Sorry. But those are long lectures and sometimes it's out of your control. But you try to break it up. Like I'm going to break it up today after I lecture a while. First, I'll let Manisha take over first. So then I come in and then I'll give you a break and you'll go research online. So it's good if you can break it up and not just talk continuously on and on and on without giving your students something else to think about, to look at, to hear besides you. Because it's hard to just hear and it's hard for us. It's nice to break up our monotony and bring something else like a video or somebody else to talk to them, anything to break up so you're not continuously talking the whole time and they don't have to hear you the whole time. Does everybody agree with that? Oh, you are so cute with your little head bobbing. Thank you so much. I think some of you just look up every once in a while, just shake your head. Mm-hmm. Like when you're to your wife, yes, dear. What did I say? I don't know. I just agree with whatever. I'm a good husband. I just agree. So some more things to remember. Prefer it simple. Don't make it so complicated. We all know you're smart. We all know you've done this job a while. So make it simple. Remember how it was, if you can, when you first started, and don't make it so complicated they can't understand what you're talking about. Convenient assignments, not something that makes it complicated and gets them so stressed out. Of course, I knew the computer stresses out some people. I hope none of you are those, but I know I've had a lot of students that's never had to deal with the computer, and probably this COVID has been a hard awakening for some people that weren't used to using the computer. Not a lot of computers on the job site unless someone's carrying around an iPad because they're a foreman, but not a lot of computers out there. So compensate for being slower. Like sometimes we are slower, but when we're slower, we make sure we're right. Like if we're going to do something just a little bit slower, it's because we want to be accurate. Now, if you're a little bit slower and you do it right, it makes a lot better and more sense than coming back doing the job completely over again because you didn't do it right the first time. So that's why adults, hopefully, not some of your kid adults, but most of them want to be as accurate as possible. And we take mistakes very personally. I do, especially if it's a stupid mistake that I just wasn't paying enough attention. So that really, I take that so personally. Alice, are you on now? I don't think she is right now. We'll get her when I thought she wasn't going to be. Are you there?
I'm on.
I thought you were going to be here till 2.
I finished my other meeting early.
Okay. When we have a little break, we got a couple of questions. I
Okay.
think most of our stuff worked out on its own, but Donald can't get on. But I'll finish this first before we get on to that discussion.
Can't get on LMS or on instructor lounge?
LMS
Okay.
or instructor lounge.
Ah, got it. Okay. All right,
Easy.
we can talk anyway.
I'm on the LMS. I can't get access to the instructor lounge. It's got me locked out. I've asked to request for my password back, and I'm not even receiving emails to reset the password.
Okay. So this is for the instructor lounge. Okay.
So I think everything else. So we're going. We couldn't get 2 of us couldn't get on, and then it popped up and let us on. So we're good on that.
And then
There's
how
only
about
one of us so
how
far.
about the 2 people that had not registered? Are they registered?
I think Tom's registering. Did you register, Tom? Did you get registered?
It said it was waiting to be verified.
Okay.
Perfect. And I don't think we have a William. Do we have a William?
Wait. William? Let me see. She sent me
Do
a
we have a William?
message. Miller? William Miller? William M.
Yeah,
Miller.
but I don't think he's on.
Oh, he's not on the class?
No, he's not on here. I don't think we had a William yesterday.
No,
did
he was
we?
supposed to
Yeah,
be,
you know,
but yeah.
something happened.
Okay.
He
All
was
right,
on
I can,
yesterday.
I'll, he was?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, was
Yeah,
not.
then
Okay.
Michelle was missing. Yep.
Somebody were like, I don't remember. I can barely remember myself.
Okay. All right. But I'll, while you guys are doing your stuff, I will check on Donald's and make sure Tom gets approved and gets his message.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So do any of you take errors personally, especially if they're stupid mistakes that you know you should have done better? I have a lot of patience, but not with myself. I've got a lot of patience with others, but I want me to be right. If they're wrong, it's acceptable, but I don't do very well with my own errors. So that's a lot of things to take into consideration. So, and it's something I really value as an instructor, and I've learned, I try not to make any, and I don't want people to do it to me either. I try not to make the students look stupid in front of each other. I mean, sometimes they may think that they do, but I don't have to add to it. Like I don't call them out and make fun of them or make a big deal when they don't know something. So try to be, even though it's tempting when they don't listen to you like 4, 5, 6 times in a row, don't insult them and don't make them look stupid if you can help it. Sometimes we do stuff unintentionally. And a blended learning environment is what we're doing now. And hopefully we'll do it even more when we get in the classroom. That's where you have some of your own information you go out and find on the internet. You're learning on the internet, and then you have some classroom time also. So that's blend the things you learn on your own, some things, and that's your responsibility. And others we all do together or online in class. And they enjoy topics again. I know, do any of you read? Do any of you like to read? But have you noticed you may not like to read unless it's something you're really, really interested. It could be magazines, it could be articles. You hate to read, but if it's something you really, really have interest in, it's something you're going to value more and learn. So that's the same thing. They enjoy exploring things on their own, especially if it's something they're interested. That's why we have the advantage with a lot of older students coming in, is because they may need, this may be their second chance. So they want to learn because they need this and they already realize. Now, some of your younger students, they're just young. They're like we were. They just don't get the value of jobs yet. They don't get the value, or they don't understand that you may make a lot of money at first. And if you go out and buy a brand new expensive truck, then they may not understand, hey, the next month hours may be a little bit lower. They're not able to afford that. There's so many things that younger students haven't realized the value of yet because they haven't experienced it. Older ones have. So they value more going out, learning on their own, because they know they need this. Just like most of you that are here, you're here because you want to be, the majority of my students here, and you're here because you want to learn. Now, some of our younger students, they don't know why they're here. Someone may even force them to be here in their mind. So you just have to work with what interests them and try to do the best you can. You're going to get so many different opinions and how they learn. It's going to be difficult. So next, and they want immediate feedback. Have any of y'all had younger students yet in the classroom?
Yes, we do.
Have you ever experienced, and maybe your kids, if you have children, this right here is immediate gratification. This is immediate gratification, not like us old people that when we were writing a report years ago, had to actually get in a vehicle and go to a library. Now they have a library on hand all the time. So they have gotten really used to immediate gratification. So some of these students, depending on age, are going to want immediate feedback. You ever had any of this? How am I doing? They've done one step. Well, how is this now? Is this right? Well, if you have 15 people, 20 people in the classroom and you have to stop every second and they'll say, is this part right? Did I do this right? They haven't even finished anything to see yet, but you do have some that want immediate gratification. They don't want to wait. They want to know now. So next, we're going to, and all of these are reasons to think about how students are. Hopefully you remember yesterday, and I mentioned all these students come and everybody all of us here. Some of us are from different states. This time we may be from a different country. We come from different climates. We come from different families, different upbringing, different schooling. So all of these affect how we learn and how we see things. Everybody in here has some type of prejudice. I don't mean, it don't even have to be a black, white. It doesn't have to be male, female. It's just some inner prejudices that we don't really realize. So you bring these into the classroom with you. You do as an instructor and a student, but I'm here to try to get you to hold that in and not let it affect how you're teaching. So, and it's not even prejudice intentional. It's just things that something may have happened to you and you may be a little bit more leery of. some other nationality. Who knows? It could be anything. So, or if you got your heart broken by a redhead, you may not like redheads anymore. So, I mean, you know, it's just something that you don't even realize. So be really careful. And I am itching. Really careful not to bring that into the classroom. Now, other considerations, and some of them are so out of our control. You know, when you're out there on the job and you're teaching them and it's cold, it's not comfortable, but there is nothing you can do because that's the reality of your job. Sometimes when it's here, it's 100 degrees outside, the humidity is horrible, people still have to work. So, and when you're training, you do the best you can to make it as comfortable as possible. We're in Baltimore, they feed us 3 meals a day. A chef comes out and cooks for us. We're spoiled. We have all kinds of snacks in the classroom. They have drinks where we have caffeine all the time. Usually I have candy. So try to make you as comfortable as possible. Now at college, that's not a reality. I'm not going to have all this candy out for them every day, and they don't get to eat in the classroom. The sound, light, temperature, still, you try to make it as comfortable and as easy to see as possible. Again, that depends on your training center. Some of it is out of your control. If you see that they work better in pairs, you can set up groups. And sometimes you may want to make them work in groups because some people talk a lot, some are more quiet. You might get them to help each other out. And again, think about ages, all these different things come in when you plan your training. And again, training might be out of your control. You're there, they tell you what to teach. They've set up the environment. You just come in there and teach, and you do the best you can. So now I'm going to let you, because I think it's a good breaking. I would like for you to go out on the internet right now. Do you remember what I told you your assignment was going to be?
Find a site that's a resource.
Yes, I want you to go out and research. And even if you find a tool, I want you to find the tool on the internet. It can be an actual tool, but you've researched it. And I want you to tell me where you researched it and what tool you found out that would be good. And I'm going to give you, some of you probably already did it. Some of you may not. Do you think 15 minutes will be enough? Cool. So right now it is, well, different times, different places. Look at your clock and 15 minutes from now.
So Michelle, correct me if I'm
Because I know
wrong. I searched up something I thought would be valuable. It's a website to give the guys information if that's it.
Yeah,
okay.
That will be perfect. It can be the actual website that's helpful, or it can be a tool you found on a website. That way it gives you plenty of information and y'all won't come up with the same things. That gives you some variety. You can go either way. It's one of those, there is no wrong answer. You like that? As long as you found it on the internet, even if it's not true, we'll still take it. Because I know some kids, it was so hard for them to realize not everything on the internet's true.
What?
I know. I told my little cousin with that, and they're like, what? Yeah, I said, don't you put stuff on the internet all the time? And she said, yes. I said, so anybody can post something. I just got a message. We need to be taking some kind of vitamins. Vitamins. Everybody needs to be taking their vitamins right now. That's one thing I'm going to ask you too. How has Corona changed things for you? I got a snoring dog under my feet. That's what change has done for me.
I'm sitting here in the basement at the bar. My wife is one floor up. She's a teacher, so she's been teaching at home quite regularly. So I can hear her up there with the students. Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm a weirdo though. I actually got a new job during all this, and it's a job that's going to be at home all the time. I was in the classroom and I took a job online only now. So I'm used to teaching high school and college, not only y'all, but in the classroom with 15 to 80-year-olds.
Oh, wow. Yeah, she's not enjoying the online. She teaches grade 3. The kids just don't have enough discipline. It's horrible. She spends far more hours teaching online than she does in the class.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because then we can see, just like, well, Bob's camera went off, but we can see, I can see you, but I can't control what you're doing around you. And those kids, some of them are playing on a computer, got their cell phone in their hand, because it's much harder to drag them in and make them do their work. And I've heard at least 2 parents, bless them, they're both dads and they were being gullible. Their child was saying, I'm doing my work, and they didn't check behind them. I said, your children lie. It's just a fact. I mean, it's not to be mean. They'll say, oh, I did my work. I'm good. I can play video games. I said, you've got to check behind them. As a teacher, I'm telling you, you have to check behind them. I can't imagine 3rd graders.
Gosh. And she'll have some parents that are on board. They understand the difficulties. And then some parents think their kids are wonderful. Oh, no, he's doing, no, they're not. I'm telling you, they're not handing in assignments. They're not doing this.
Yes.
Oh, well, he told me he was, and or she was.
Exactly.
It's the stories. It's so much harder online.
It is. It's really hard online.
Yeah.
I'm learning too. And unfortunately, I've had a lot of family that's had corona, and I just had an uncle that passed away 2 days ago. And my students have liked to use that as an excuse, the corona.
Wow.
Especially at first, they were telling stories that I knew were not true, because I knew
Yeah.
what you had to do to be put in the hospital, and because I had family there for quite a while. And oh, when they lied about it, that made my head spin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to having the same grandparent die twice in the same semester. That's
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, and what I'm afraid of is they really weren't dead the first time, and they died because that horrible child lied about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the second one's legit, and then you can't believe them. Oh yeah, they lie. Oh, your students lie too. Older students lie, they're worse than my high school kids. Oh, look at it. I should take my computer and show you what I'm surrounded by. You'll laugh. I've got screen to my left, 3 screens to my right, 1 in the middle.
I'm surrounded by alcohol. I'm sitting in the bar.
Hey, I think you might have a little better sight than me today. I'm a nerd. I've got Baby Yoda in front of me. I've got Baby Yoda and regular Yoda sitting up on my counter. My immaturity shows by my office. Darth Vader's over there.
It's your workplace. You got to be comfortable.
I know, and some of the stuff that's around me is ridiculous, but that's okay. Oh man. My itchy nose. 1 hour is already passed. That is amazing. In just a couple of minutes, we'll go ahead and I'll let you do the teaching and tell me. I'm going to stop my share for a minute so you can tell me stuff. There we go. Now I can just see you. Okay. We're gonna wait till Juan gets back and Ryan gets back, and there's Brandon. It's something is making me itch. I'm sorry. So if you need a quick drink or anything, get it now. Saw Jason look up. My Jasons are on top of each other in the Brady Bunch. Jason. I know. 2 of you. Scary. Jason Bauer looks so serious. So serious. Scares me a little bit. Eduardo looks really serious too.
I was just looking into.
I know. This is awesome. If only it was like this in the classroom, I could learn names so much better. If your little face was in the classroom and your name was across your chest, that would be awesome. I am horrible with names. I didn't know if William wasn't here yesterday or not. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, some of y'all said he was here and he wasn't here, so I'm not the only one. Oh yeah, William was here. I'm like, you sure? We got Joe and Harlan. Alice is lucky. She's got that pretty picture of herself up there.
Can you hear me again?
I could, but now you're on mute again. Oh, Phil Harper just sent me something. That's probably gonna scare me. He sent me something for my class from Phil Harper. Oh, he is such a brat. Who is it that's with Phil Harper? Who's with Phil Harper? One of
It's
y'all
me,
is.
Tom.
Yes. Is that brat close by to you?
No.
There's that brat. Tell him I am not sharing that link that he sent to my cell phone with my class.
Did I do that?
I already
Because I apologize.
He says that they say I sound like the Geico pothole. So he sent me the Geico pothole.
Oh no, I hit a pothole.
Aren't you supposed to be working? Aren't you supposed to be working? Aren't you in charge of something?
I am. I'll get back to work. I'll get back to work.
Aren't you in charge of something?
Grind him out of here.
Well, the first class I taught at the brand new facility at the training center, FTI, 2006, from Indiana, one of my students said, and it was a girl, "Can I tell you something and you won't get mad?" I'm like, you know, that's setting up. I'm like, what? She said, "Are you the person they used for the Geico pothole commercial?"
Oh no.
I'm like, yeah. And I'm sitting here with you. So from that time on, every time I walked in the classroom, they played that stupid Geico commercial on the screen every time I walked in the door. They hit it on speakers in the ceiling. That and the ink pens clicking because that drives me crazy. One of them hit a speaker inside of my classroom at FTI and went in a different room. He wasn't even in my class that time and had the pen clicking in the ceiling. Little brat.
Oh man.
Y'all bad. Y'all bad. And I just laughed.
Well, I've already raised 4 teenage daughters, so that's probably why I don't look as serious as I need to half the time.
I have taught since 2003.
That's just called insanity.
I don't know what I look like anymore. And I've taught high school for several years.
Wow.
Of course, I taught at the city mission. I've taught at the drug rehab. I've taught in prison. So, you know, I've had all types of students.
Wow. Lifesaver.
It's good to have some variation. I've had a student look at me and said, "You don't know what I don't want you to know, or I'm glad you can't hear what the voices in my head tell me about you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great."
Wow.
Like, can we get that one on medication?
Yeah.
Please? Yeah, that's the only time I looked at him like, okay.
That's
Okay. That was at the city mission. Bless his heart, you know, he lives on the street. Non-medicated. Y'all will get those. Heck, I think to be teachers, we need to be medicated. I don't know about y'all. Medication may help. Being a parent, medication may help. How many of y'all got kids?
Yep.
2.
I think almost everybody's got kids. I'm the only one that doesn't have kids. I got y'all.
Hi, Ryan's next up.
Ah, it'll be time.
Yeah, I got one on the way. I don't have one yet.
Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Good.
talk to the one that said they have 2 to 18.
Wow.
There's a pretty good gap there.
That'll give you some experience right
I got-
there. 2 to
I got
18.
6 days old to 16. 4.
Oh, wow.
4.
Mm.
Anybody got more than 4?
I got 5.
Oh, bless you.
Brave soul.
Should have had cable.
I got a dog. I got a dog snoring at my feet. That's my child. I couldn't have them, so therefore I teach them. So we ready to go? Sorry, you know I'm going to go in the order I see y'all on your little the Brady Bunch. So I will start with I don't know which way I want to go. If I start at the bottom left, that would be Jason King. Woo!
All right.
You are the winner.
So I found a website my guys could go to. It's called OSHA Quick Card. And all they have to do is go onto the website and it tells you a picture. It's got a picture that you can identify any hazard chemical with. So when they go into the office or they go to the caulking box or they go into our chemical closet and they have any questions about anything, instead of bothering one of us supervisors, they can OSHA Quick Card it, and it gives you a picture of the chemical and lists all underneath the picture, everything you need to know about that chemical, how to handle it, how to dispose of it, how to neutralize it.
I've got to tell you, that is so weird. I have never heard of that, but that is a great thing. I mean, and I have them look every single time, and I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
OSHA Quick Card.
OSHA Quick Card.
Now, if anybody needs the information from anybody, once we get across, we can always post it once we can get in the instructor lounge or post it here, because we come up with some good ideas, I think. And next will be my other Jason, because he's on top of my other Jason in my Brady Bunch squares.
Jason Bauer.
So
Yeah.
I've been teaching first year taping apprentices this week. So I picked something easy. Went to ames.com and found a 5-inch taping knife. It's one of the most common taping knives when you first start out. So there are obviously a lot of other sizes, but the 5-inch is something you definitely need. So I figured something easy and something that the new guys should definitely know about. So
That's awesome, and that is legit. I have seen a lot of the Ames stuff. We've had a lot of Ames videos too, but I mean, that's good. How about you, Brian? My new daddy to be.
So I went with Leatherman.com to bring up the Wave, which is a multi-tool that I would always carry, and I tell all the apprentices you should get one. Or it's not really a tool that you use for anything specific. It's awesome to have. If your hose goes down, there's a screwdriver. If you have to cut a hose, you can flip a knife out. Somebody's arm is stuck in a suck hose, you could cut it. There's just a bunch of features that you can use on it that make your life a lot easier.
What is?
On the bridge. So both safety wise and to fix stuff. So that's what I looked up.
That's an awesome one too. I used to carry one in my purse all the time, except for now. When I have to go to the airport, I had to remember to take it out of my purse, or they take it and you don't get it back.
I had one taken from me.
Yes.
My ex-wife was a flight attendant, so we knew the people when we left our airport.
Uh-huh.
And I had keys with a mini one on it, and they just don't even look at our bag. When we go, when I came back from Vegas, they actually pulled my keys out and took it and threw it away. And I was like, so.
Yeah, you just don't think about it. That's how mine went. Gone.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of these strange things that they do not, and they do accept, and that I take and don't take through the airport anymore. Not since last February, but it's been almost a year since I got to be on a plane. How about you, Tom? What you gonna teach me?
I am a finisher, drywall finisher by trade, and I went on Ames as well. And
Cool.
for the company I work for, we do use, it is called an Ames Bazooka Continuous Flow System,
Yes.
which is very productive for large jobs that we do.
And a little hard on the arms, but very good. Very quick work.
It is very hard for the upper body for
Yep.
overhead work. But I do
But-
have another information setting to go with the Ames continuous flow to assist it.
Uh-huh.
That PCI, who I work for here in Indianapolis, has just introduced to us this year, and it is an exoskeleton upper body assistance suit. And I will get some information and share that with you guys as well.
That'd be awesome. Oh, because you know, so many people, that's what takes them out of work. You know, that continuous movement and where you mess up your shoulders, your neck, your back, and in flooring, you mess up your lower back. And you know, bridge, there's a lot of stuff you can do there, but
Oh, yeah.
all your jobs, there's a lot of things that really do some damage to you.
Yes, any overhead work. We've tried it, for the finishing all overhead. Even we got one for our carpenters as well, for our hanging drywall, for framing bulkheads, any overhead ceiling work. But I'll get more information for you
Send
guys.
us that information. That'd be awesome. That would save a lot of wear and tear on your body.
I shared some with Phil, and he's really into it, and I'll get some information.
Oh yeah, the best you can save your body. Because you know, when you retire, you don't want to be so miserable you can't enjoy it. That's not right. That's not right.
Everybody in our trade, with by the time they're 55 or 60, needs shoulder replacement.
Yep. That's the truth. And every different part of the trade, there's something that you really a lot of wear on your body. How about you, Joe? What did you find?
I went a different route.
That's okay.
Because there's something on all job sites, when I talk to members stuff like that, they always have different questions and needs, benefits, what goes in their pension, different things, stuff like that. So I have the IUPAT mobile app where you can log in. If you're a member, you just need your member ID and an email, and you can check all that stuff. And I just thought it's a helpful tool. So.
Oh, that's awesome. And that is true. And a lot of times when they don't know who to reach out to, they don't know who to ask questions. So if you go on there, they can get their questions answered and send emails. Even if they don't know exactly who they're sending to, they can get some help for it. That'd be awesome.
I always get calls too, like, I don't know if my dues are paid up, who do I call? And I try and tell them to get, if you get this, you can look, you can see what you're paid through,
Oh, that's awesome. And everything, right, especially right now, everything is going to online. I don't know what we'd do if our internet all went down. Ugh. I don't know what we'd do without computers now. We're so dependent on them running everything. How about you, Raymond? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, that was me telling me I should take myself off mute. You little reminders like that.
You told yourself something right. That was awesome.
I see it all the time. You sit there talking. I actually do it all the time. I'm not overly Zoom savvy yet, but I sit there talking, and then everybody's telling me.
I think we're on the same planet. Don't feel bad, all of us. It's new.
I had, based on our research project from yesterday, I looked at, something coming out of the glazing industry. So what does a journeyman or a journey person glazier deal with all the time? And that's young apprentices or young people always asking what tools they need constantly. It's just a thing. Like, what do I need for this? What I need? Even in the coordinator's position, we discussed what do we send glazier apprentices out to the field with. So if you were to use a starter kit, that would be pretty expensive, I saw. But to answer that question, I just used a search engine like Google. I went into Google and typed in starter glazier's toolkit. So for that, I like the idea of CR Lawrence, CRL, very common in the glazing trade. Just about everything you could need there. You said as an example earlier, there can be some misleading things online. Amazon had what they call the CR Lawrence Starter Toolkit, but it was an outdated one. So a reference would be to go directly to the manufacturer's site, which I prefer because that's, you know, it's more fact-based, I think, than it could be. Also because an issue that you could have in search engines is that you might find something there. If you don't do a little bit of research on your own and comparison shopping, you could pay exponentially more than you should for a product. So CR Lawrence, crlawrence.com, great resource for anything related to the glazing industry. They do a good job of showing detailed diagrams and pictorials so that if somebody has a question, some of the common industry lingo might not be something that people understand. So having a visual representation there is nice. So that's where my trail of breadcrumbs led me, was right back to CRL. So that's my recommendation.
That's awesome. And that you made a great example too. And that's one thing I want y'all to remember. You already know this stuff. I mean, you've already been in this trade. You've already been there, done that. Sometimes you forget what you needed to know when you started, what kind of step by step there are to get to where you are now. I call it autopilot. Has anybody had an old job and then you got a new job and you looked up one day and you're driving to your old job because you're on autopilot? I mean, you get so stuck in a rut, you're not even thinking. Just like, this sounds sad, but sometimes I have to touch my toothbrush, see if I brush my teeth, because I don't remember, because it's so automatic. I'm like, did I brush my teeth? I mean, yeah, that's sad, but you're so on autopilot, you do things without thinking about it. So when you're teaching your guys, you forget sometimes those little steps of necessity because you're on autopilot. So make sure you remember, and that's what he's talking about, those steps. And it tells you the accurate information you need to get where you're going. I mean, we all do it. It's just that memory set into our mind, and that we've done it every day for so long. You do it without thinking. There, even if it's getting a coffee, you barely remember making it, but it's in your hand. So that's sad. A lot of my driving, that's sad. I'll look up and I'm there. I'm like, how did I get here? No alcohol involved. What is up with me? But that's autopilot. So how about you, Donald?
Yes, I actually ended up finding a website. I actually was at a Glazers trade show last year and saw a tool there, and it just triggered me for me to go to look for it. And it was it's found on carrymate.com. It's a Carrymate product, and it was actually the Portman XL and the Portman XXL. It's a swivel lifter to help alleviate some of the weight of dealing with doors, windows, and whatnot. The Portman XL can lift anywhere up to 250 pounds, and the XXL up to 440 pounds. They actually state that it's excellent for using not only regular doors but fire rated doors because of the extra weight limit or the extra weight that it carries. But it mentions also for the drywall industry, I guess for boardmen to try and just lift it. It's just a swivel that lifts up about 8 inches, and just enough to get in and raise your products to exactly where you are so you can fasten.
Oh, that's perfect. That's the saver too.
Yep.
Actually, it even states on it prevents back injury.
It does, exactly. That's awesome. Anything that can help. How about you, Thad? What'd you come up with, Thad?
I kept it simple. I'm a glazer by trade, so I researched one of the most common glazing tools that we use is a glazing pry bar. It's also known here in Pittsburgh as a Jimmy bar.
Jimmy bar.
So what I did was I went to CR Lawrence, and I found a picture. It has a picture. It has a brief description of it. These Jimmy bars, they come in different head styles. Like some have 90 degrees, some have 50 degrees. It depends on what you're prying on, personal preference. So you could CR Lawrence is just a basic website that you can find a picture of it on if you're a new apprentice trying to get your basic tool. This tool is a necessity for all journeyman glazers. You have to have this. So
And that's something, again, when they're first starting out, they don't know what they need until you tell them, or until they found out on the job they don't have it. That's when you find out a lot of things that you need. But that's awesome. How about you, Eduardo?
Actually, I check a few websites, for this tool. It's a drywall finishing tool. It calls Matte Runner. It's a tool to do angles. These days, construction is a very fast pace, so companies are looking for more production. So it's a tool that helps, to get up there, to get the people going, to get more work done. And at the same time, I mean, this tool is not really hard on your body, like doing angles by hand all day long, or even using the angle box. The angle box is a really good tool too. I mean, I love those tools. But this tool, I mean, it is a little better for everybody. Plus, I mean, you can almost double the work on every day. So, I mean, it's something that almost every company needs to have that these days, because let's say it's not really hard on your body. So it helps on both ways. You get production, and at the same token, people doesn't get hurt that easy. So it kind of worked for me. Yeah.
And it's all about the production. That the
Yes,
faster
these
you
days, I mean, you
go.
have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, that's
When you
the
can just
bottom line.
double. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is true.
Yeah.
If
I know.
if it saves on your body, it's worth it too.
Yeah, these two, I mean, I think on the long run is a little better than the other tools. And I said, running angles by hand all day long, I mean, it's not that easy.
Right.
I mean, these tools, I mean, you can do so much, in a day, and plus the quality is better too. If you do it right and you do it properly, I mean, the quality is going to be a lot better. So it's going to look better for you. It's going to look better for the company. It's going to look better for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's what we've been talking about. And y'all just switched. Mama Squares just switched on me. What the heck? But I know one, you haven't gone yet. So but my squares, they all flipped. I went, hey, I was going in order and my order flipped. Go ahead, one. I know you haven't gone, but now Thad's underneath you and he already went.
All righty. Well, for me, I'm a finisher by trade. I'm still in the trade. I'm still in the field. So for me, one of the most important tools, because I hate sanding, is the porta cable, especially because I work in a lot of hospitals. So it's just to keep the dust down, and it's more work efficient. It's a little bit faster for me, if you ask me, and I don't get all dusty.
Yeah. Especially at the hospital, because they want the least amount of dust you can do around there.
Yeah, they're really picky about dust. So for me, it's the most of the porta cable that I look into it like everybody else. All the finishers, Ames is like the place to go for us down in Indiana.
Yeah. Like I said, I've seen a lot of different videos for Ames, and they got good products. They last, and they back up their stuff, so that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of those Ames and some of the other places will give you some free products for you to use in the classroom. And I mean, it'll only help them in the long run because you're teaching the students that product, so they're going to use it in their trade. So, but I know a lot of those companies will give you free stuff. We like stuff, especially for the apprentices, because sometimes they lose stuff. I guess we all do that, but we're not going to talk about that. How about Harlan?
Yeah. So depending on what glazing company you work with, you may find yourself drilling and tapping a lot of holes, whether it be doors or anchors. So I picked up a website, especially for the apprentices, to get your pilot holes correct and your clearance holes. So for those of us who drill and tap holes, if the drill is too small, you can break the tap. If it's too big, you don't get good thread depth. So it's just a site, and it goes through the different fasteners that we use and the correct drill bits.
Well, that's awesome. That's more information they need to know. And to go back as a resource after you teach them, because I mean, they have listened to us, but if you give them somewhere where they can go and be refreshed, that helps too. And how about you, Bob?
So I kind of cheated a little because I had just recently purchased tools for drywall finishing for my facility and the Cortland facility where Ray is. So I went with a basic starter kit for my apprentices that I'm just signing up. So they've never done drywall fishing in the world. So it's a 4-inch knife, a 6-inch knife, a 10, 12, and then a pan, which is your basic drywall finishing tools that you're going to need to start on any job site. And that's Marshalltown that I went with for the hand tools.
Cool. And that's their starter. That's their livelihood. So that's good. And how about you, Brandon? You're hiding back there.
I'm hiding. I thought you were going to forget about me.
Oh no, I said my order messed up, but I knew you still had to talk.
I got it. So I'm a painter, wallpaper guy by trade. I Googled wallpaper tables, and then what it pulls up is a popular company around this area is Advanced Equipment. And you can go on there, and then I'm sure some of the drywall guys have seen their site. But they have all aspects of our trade. So what I ended up recently purchasing was a wallpaper table to replace the old dingy one that we had here. So
But those are helpful too. They have the cutting. Is that the ones that have the cutting on the end, or
that's a wallpaper machine.
but so they just have the big table that you have to string across?
Yeah, so we don't get a table, or we get a table on almost every job. The machine you don't get too often unless it's a big wide open corridor. You know, you don't use that too often, but most of the time I got to work off a table. You do your cutting, your pasting, your measuring, all that, everything you do for the wallpaper before sticking it on a wall, you do it on that table.
So it's very valuable.
Very valuable and very
Without
expensive.
it, you couldn't do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think I got everybody, didn't I? I didn't miss anybody. You all talked, didn't you? Even though you switched order and messed me up, that's okay. Somehow Thaddeus jumped to the bottom. I don't know how that happened. And I jumped to the top. So all of this is an example of how easy it is to go out and get research. So this is an example of, and also how some of you are in the exact same trade, but you went out and you thought of a different thing to talk about. This is how our brains work. So you can go out and find anything, and this may help each other. Some of you may not have heard of some of the things we just talked about, but this would help your class. You could break up some of the time and make them teach you back. They'll come up with good information and it'll take some of the pressure off of you. This is just an example of how you can come up with on the fly stuff that would be important to your trade. And also, like I said, it makes you realize how everybody thinks in a different direction. Again, same trade, but you think of something that's the most important thing to you or something you use more than anything else. So that's how your guys are coming from so many different areas and different thought processes. And if you want any of this information, we can always post it. And that way everybody can get the websites, the links, whatever you need. Now I'm going back on now to harass you some more. Let me see. I'll go share my screen with you again. Let me make my little people bigger. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
See a puppy dog.
Yeah, that's my little rescue pit lab underneath my feet. He's definitely having a snore fest today. Must be nice. Okay, there we go. Now my puppy's gone. Can you see something else?
Yes.
And now we're going to talk about learning styles and communication too. You see right there, the boy and the girl, and it could be two boys, it could be two girls, but you see how she's got to follow everything by the instructions, step by step. And the other one, he can just think about it and see it in his mind, and he can go that direction. So she has to read instructions. He can actually see the picture and do it in his mind. So everybody, that's how we learn so differently. Some of us have to write everything down. Some of us have to hear it. Some of it, see it. We need pictures. All of us think and learn so differently. And I never went to a class that taught me how to study. I know now they have those, but I just had to figure it out on my own what works best for me. For me, I have to read it and write it down. Even with the computers and typing now, for me, old school, it still works better for me to actually take a pen and write it down to remember. I don't know why, but that works best for me. Some of you, and in my younger days, when I had a lot more empty places in this brain for information, all I had to do is sit in the classroom and listen, and it sunk in. That is not reality anymore. But I made good grades without much effort when I was younger and didn't appreciate it. So now I wish I could remember like that. And you know too that you have, it says, as we start a new school year, Mr. Smith, I just want you to know that I'm an abstract sequential learner and trust that you'll conduct yourself accordingly. I don't even know what all that means, but everybody has a different learning process. I know I get special needs forms for students that they have some different learning disabilities. And there'd be certain things I have to do in the classroom for them that I don't do for everybody else. They may have longer time. A lot of your students are not going to know they have a learning disability. And I had one student in college who was dyslexic. They never figured it out till he got in college. How can that be? How can no teacher realize, because they spell some things backwards, they see. And then he was a straight A student in college because no one had figured out, and he didn't know any different. He just saw the same way, and nobody took the time to learn. So you might have some that have some learning disabilities they don't realize. I think I am math illiterate. Math and I can multiply, divide, but when you start getting letters and stuff in there, take it away. I don't understand. To me, math should always be numbers. No letters should be involved. Some of you Glazers, you're already going, oh, I know math. Yes, you do. You have to know math. But all of you at least have to know tape measure. And your younger students don't know that either. Nobody teaches them the things they used to teach us when we were coming in. So with that, we're talking about auditory learners, visual learners, kinesthetic. Auditory is the hear. Visual, they have to see. And all kinesthetic means is they actually do. They're hands-on. They're ones that learn better by doing. And I think the majority of your students, that's what they're going to be. They want to do it, and I have to do it to learn it. You can tell me all day long, but until I get to do it myself, it doesn't sink in. So a lot of yours are going to be kinesthetic, and you see these little circles in here. That just means you use more than one learning style. And the majority of us are going to have more than one learning style. We may use all of them in our learning process. We need to add to it. So when we get into the different learning styles, and again, it has to do with how you were taught, all the things that we've already talked about. So why do we need to know about learning styles? The reason you need to know about learning styles is because if you are not careful, you're going to teach in the way that is most comfortable for you to learn. If you're not careful, because you'll say, oh, well, if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. I used to be that type of computer teacher, and I found out not everybody automatically goes to the computer. Not everybody's good at math. Not everybody's good with a tape measure. Some of you are not going to be people person. Everybody's different. So just because I can learn it this one way and I think it's easy, doesn't mean it's going to be easy to other people. So you need to realize that other people, even though it's not the way you learn, it may need to be added. So that's where you get the auditory, the visual, and the kinesthetic. So multiple intelligence, that's what they're talking about. A lot of people learn differently. And these are some of the sites, and usually I put you in groups. There's going to be different theories that come up, multiple intelligence theories. The VARK theory. And there's tests that they take where you learn what your learning style is. And that's just when I was bored and made something circle when I was at FTI sometimes. So when I say visual, visual is what you learn through seeing. And you like information in diagrams, charts, graphics, and that makes it make more sense. You want to actually see it, not just hear about it. And when you're taking notes, you may realize you rewrite words and you use symbols or initials of things because you like to see it. Underline, use different colors. All these are different types that show that you're a visual learner. Now, when you're auditory, you may learn more through listening. I found, for me, this is totally odd, but when I was teaching some of the new students coming in, when they're studying, they like to use their headphones. They want to listen to music in their ears. They're so used to so much going on. That's how they learn. Some people need quiet. So all of this, some people study with the TV on, some needs the TV off. So auditory, they learn by listening. They have to hear what's being said. The lectures are they're good for them. And the tools read text aloud. You may see people, I've had students in the classroom that are reading the instructions out loud to themselves. That's how they get it to click. The tone of the speaker, they pay attention to more if you've got some different tone that they can listen to. And some of them have recorded, I've had students record what I'm telling them. I hate to hear because I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. And they'll remind me by my recorded messages. But that's how they learn. Now, when we get into read, write, that would be me. They read it and then they write it down. Textbooks, they reread text. They rewrite their notes. They're really graphic organizers. So they like list and outline. So that's the read and write. Kinesthetic, again, even though I'm a reading write, I still learn better doing. How many of you are better at actually, you learn from doing? You get a tool in your hand. I mean, it's easy to talk about a tool, but until you actually get that tool in your hand and do the work, I don't think you are as accurate. Some people just pick it up. I don't know how, but some can, but not as many. They use all 5 senses, the sight, the touch, the taste, the smell. They're like, what do you mean smell? Well, when you're working with some chemicals, there's certain smells, you know. If you smell that, you're in trouble. Just like if you're working with wires and you smell smoke, you know you're in trouble. So that's a way of learning too. Simulation, role plays, all students seem to work much better when they, again, touch it. And normally this is when you have a group activity. It's hard to do group online, and we're going to move on. You're just going to have to hear me talk. Sorry. I'll make sure you have some group activities when we finally get to all meet in person. I hope sometime. So when we have different learning styles, and here's again for the people that would learn better with visual, we've got this nice picture. You've got people that do better reading themselves. You've got it written, and then you hear me. So that would be the auditory. Right there, I am feeding in all 3 of those by having the picture, having the text, and I tell you. So we have, does that make sense? You've got all 3 of those covered in there. And if you read straight from the PowerPoint, they can read themselves. So try to at least do a Reader's Digest version. Some things you're going to have to say, hey, there are many different options for figuring out your learning preference. There are some times where you have to actually read, but not all the time. And you have handouts where you see the learning style assessment and online learning assessment. And this is where you go out and you actually take the quiz. And I'll go look and see what they are on this one. And this is where you can go. And if you want to learn more about your learning style, you can go to any of these. You'll see it. And I can send you the link if you want them. Or you can go to that PDF and it'll give you a document. And it should be in your book. I think they're even handouts are at the first or handouts are at the back of your book. That should be included in that little book they sent you. So if you're interested in learning styles, you can go out and find more. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. There we go. So next, this is homework for day 1. Day 1 is complete. You are so lucky. We're moving now to day 2. Let's see what time it is. 2:41. Do you want to take a quick bathroom break or get a drink?
Yes.
Sure.
Perfect. Take about 5 minutes if that's enough time. And then we'll move on to day 2.
All right.
Alice, are you there?
Alice?
I'm here.
Yep.
Yeah, that password isn't working that you sent me in the email.
What?
It's 25 characters. It's like hyphen, pound, blah, blah, blah. And
Did you copy and paste it?
I copied and pasted it in my phone. And is it from the hyphen on?
The whole thing. I just copied and pasted it from what they sent me.
Okay.
I don't know if I probably don't include the hyphen.
Okay, I'll try that.
Try that. Does it let you reset it once you're in? Well, find out, I guess.
I'll tell you in just a second. Still saying an error on the password.
Okay. Let me
I'll try one more thing because when I try to highlight it, it starts at the E as opposed to the ampersands.
can you share your screen?
I'm trying to do this one on my phone because I'm using my personal laptop at home. Yep. Nope. I've tried 3
And you're
versions of that and it
using-
didn't work.
Where is it? You're using your email address.
What email address do you have on file?
See, let me find my document that has it.
Okay, I'm going to take a run for, it's my only option to go run it for a smoke.
Okay, when you registered, you used your email address
As far as yeah.
or your member ID?
I might have used my member ID actually.
Yeah, that might have been the member ID. And then you got an original message that said
that's what I'm saying. No, I
approved.
did not.
Oh, you
No.
never got it. Okay, so obviously you got the email.
I
That
got the email you
sent
sent me, but I
that-
haven't. That's what I'm saying. I haven't received the confirmation email from yesterday. I've
all.
sent out a couple of requests to reset my password. I haven't received that email either.
Okay, so then there might have been a typo in the email address. Let me see if I can settle that while you go take your
All right.
smoke break. I'll let you know when I find out.
Okay.
You need to go for a quick smoke, Don? He did. Lunch? I see some of y'all munching.
Yeah, I had some Mars bars.
Mars, that's just as bad as a Snicker, Batman.
Yeah, Halloween candy left over.
Oh, man. That's just wrong. I'm eating an Atkins bar. Yum. Yeah. They're not bad.
Michelle, do you remember Tim Largent, St. Louis instructor?
Uh-huh.
He's got snacks in his room every drawer you pull out of his desk, he's got snacks. He's a little bit older. He eats snacks to stay awake. So he's taught me I got some peanuts I'm munching on, just to stay awake. So
I get it. I used to eat, well, I can't eat sugar anymore. This has pretend sugar in it. But I'm on an insulin pump, so I have to behave. Back before I became a diabetic, I would eat sugar. My man had an autoimmune disease that gave me diabetic. I'm like, dude, it waits till I'm 50 to become a diabetic. Type 1. What's up with that? That's wrong.
the students have fun with it because he even has a file cabinet next to his desk that has pretzels and candy and all kinds of stuff in it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, sometimes it just helps. You eat when all things go wrong in the class, just get you a snack. That's what in the classroom at FTI. How many of y'all have actually got to go to FTI? One out of all two?
I've been on staff
Three?
for 2 years almost. I've never made it there.
Oh man, yeah, they feed you so much.
Yeah.
They've got all those snacks in the classroom. You've got potato chips and pretzels and granola bars. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
So Michelle, are you saying that when we do come down that maybe we should consider failing so we can come back?
No. I think you're going to get to do the second half there eventually. I just don't know when that'll be.
They do feed
I
you.
have seen some come back again and they didn't fail, but they had changed some rules. And I'm like, what are y'all doing back? They said, oh, that's cute. They said we had to, and we didn't mind. I'm like, well, that's cool. My teaching tech 2 guys, I finished up their class and they said they're going to come back anyway. They're like, we're taking this again because they had already had it in the classroom the first half and then did online the second half. So they knew how much different it is.
Is it a 2-day or a 3-day?
When we're there,
Yeah.
normally it's a 5-day.
Oh, wow.
So we're there from 8 to 5 together. We eat breakfast together, lunch together, dinner together. Some of them go play games in the game room together. So, and they drink coffee at night together.
Yeah, naturally.
I was up there for the leadership series. Our group went to the Orioles game, and then
Oh, see, that is cool. A lot of them, depending on the season,
Yeah.
they go to the game or they go to the casino or that's cool too. They all get a vehicle and go places together.
Mm-hmm.
Go down to the Inner Harbor.
yeah, there's a lot to do.
Oh yeah.
And DC is so close. I wouldn't want to go to DC right now. Seems like there's a lot going on, but when there's not as much going on, there's some cool sights.
Oh
You
yeah.
may not be able to see them right now, which I'd be fine with that, not going to DC.
I grew up in Baltimore. I grew up in Baltimore. There's a lot of stuff to do around there.
There is, and there's really cool stuff. And I mean, they're for both venues. You can go to museums if you want to, or you can go to a game. There's so many different options there. I like it there. I've been going there a long time.
Said they grew up in Baltimore.
Ryan.
I grew up in Baltimore. My mom worked in the Lake Mason building for years.
Oh.
And I graduated from Falston High School in Hartford County. Actually, I moved up there when I was about 12 or so.
Right. Oh, okay.
I'm familiar
me
with
too.
the
Born and
area.
raised in Baltimore. Still live in Baltimore.
I'm a Ravens fan, and I live in Pittsburgh now, so everybody hates me.
I used to like you, Ryan.
Thank you for not being a Pittsburgh fan.
I root
Thank you
for
for
the
not
Penguins.
converting.
You're converting?
No, there's no
I'm not. I
converting.
said thank you for not converting.
Yeah. I root for the Penguins and the Pirates, but I'm not giving up the football team.
That's okay. And we'll go down to day 2. We're going to be in day 2 now since we're really in day 2. And if somebody's not back, it's okay. Especially poor Donald. He was getting some stuff fixed when we first started on the break. And can you see my screen over there. I can bring in
Icebreaker.
another one. That's exactly. Let's make sure you can see that slideshow from current. And that's what we're going to talk about now. Yay. Y'all still wait? Let me clock off this computer real quick so I can talk some more. Maybe they'll give Donald time to be back. He needed to go have a smoke. Okay. Now, icebreakers and games. That's what this is telling. When you have a new group and they don't know each other, some of yours may already be on the job site, but they don't know much about each other. So you can have icebreakers, just like our first day, our icebreaker was, tell me a little bit about yourself. That's an icebreaker. Simple, easy to understand, but it's an icebreaker. So you can have something just to break up, to make them more comfortable. It could be a game. It could be introduce the person beside you. Be a little harder right now, but things like that, just to help take some of the pressure off your class, because when they're coming in nervous, especially for some reason, and I don't understand why, but some of you are really comfortable in the classroom, but then when you come to FTI, you get a little more nervous because you're in front of your peers. It's not your students. You assume you know more than your students, but in front of your peers, sometimes it makes people a little nervous. So if we have icebreakers, we have little presentations, things that make you more comfortable around each other. By the time we get to the last day when you have to present, it's not as hard for you. That's what the purpose of this is. So that would be an icebreaker. You know, you read, that's a homework review. We're going to talk about that. You're going to post the 3 things you learned from each chapter, and then we're going to talk about chapter 10 tomorrow. So once we get through with today, which hopefully is today and not tomorrow, you're going to understand personality types and how they influence the learning environment. And you're also going to be able to describe how diversity issues affect communication and impact training, which they do. We are going to recognize and demonstrate active listening, verbal and nonverbal communication skills. You are going to be able to understand disruptive adult students and how to deal with those angelic behaviors. And you're going to develop an understanding of learning differences in adult learners and differentiate the way you do your instruction. So personality, that's a lot of different personalities come in your classroom. A lot of personalities in one person. It happens. So we're going to talk about the different personalities and how they affect the learning. And it says you got 4 dimensions of human behavior: feeling, thinking, watching, doing. So a feeling, they learn through personal involvement. A thinker, they learn through logic, ideas, and concepts. Watchers, they observe and they use the caution to make sure they obtain their outcomes. They're going to be a little bit more cautious. They watch before they just act. And doing, they act. They change situations and influence others to obtain the outcomes they want. They act. Some of the doing, you may act before you think about it. It's an automatic. So for those dimensions of human behavior, then we come into how they influence your personality, whether it be a dominance, influence, steadiness, or conscientiousness. What works best for you? It says, while we have a core element to our personalities that always remains pretty much the same, our personalities are going to change through new experiences. Even the way we speak, the way we act, you know, that changes depend on who you're around. Like when you're in front of your grandparents, you may act a little different than you act when you're with your buddies at the bar or out at a game. Probably you might have a different way of speaking. You may have, different mannerisms. How you're with your spouse, you may act a little different. So all of those do affect your behavior and affects your personality. That don't mean you're not being yourself. That just means you're toning down things to work for your environment. Bob, who's in there with you? Bob's in there just laughing. Bob don't even hear me. He got me on mute. Do you think Bob has us on mute? I think Bob has us on mute. I'm sitting there just talking about him. Look at him. Bob, we can see you.
He's a hand talker.
Bob. Oh, he's got to have us on mute. Bob, we're talking about you.
Bob will tell you how to handle disruptive adult students.
Yeah, Bob, you're a
pretty good at
disruptive
it.
adult.
Ray seen me take care of it before.
I have been calling your name for 10 minutes and you did not even hear me.
Sorry, I've got other problems here at work.
Other problems. You got a problem over there in your office, sounds like.
I do. Here, right there. You see my problem? No.
I can't see him, but I saw you talking to somebody. Who's that problem? Tell that problem they're disrupting you in the classroom. So, see, there's an example right there. So all of those personalities, and they blend, and that makes us who we are and how we learn. So when it says the dominant personalities, they're doing and thinking and big picture. They think about the big picture, quick to act, controlled, independent, strong-willed. Primary concern is results, and let's get it done. So those are the ones that want to get it done. Let's get in here, let's get it done. And that's okay. That may be, you may be a mixture of that. Now, you also have the influence personality, the doing and feeling. When we do our personalities, I'm always a big feeler. I do react to my emotions. Like people can make me feel bad. Oh, poor student. I'm not as dumb as I used to be. That goes away quickly when you become a teacher or a parent, you know, when those big guys look at you like, but daddy, oh, you know, just wait, Ryan. They'll play you, especially if you have a little girl. Those girls just suck you and reel you in. We know from the moment we pop out how to play the daddy. Don't y'all think that's true? Y'all shaking your head.
Yeah.
They got those little eyelashes and they're like,
Here, honey.
Daddy.
Here, make
Yeah.
My younger sister, she executed that.
But daddy, I love you. Oh yeah. So those influencers, they know how to get what they want done. They know how to talk to other people, and they can be friendly, enthusiastic. It's hard to get some jerk telling you and screaming at you. It's hard to listen to them as easily as someone that makes you think it's your idea. Oh, that's a great idea. But they know how to influence your behavior. Steadiness personality, watching and feeling, more detailed oriented, slower to act because they want to make sure they get it correct. They are calm, supportive, empathetic, and some of us may be a mixture of all of these, which is fine. Primary concern is stability. Let's keep everything peaceful. Let's just, let's get our stuff done, but let's do it quietly and calmly. Yeah, on the job site, that's all how y'all work. Quietly and calmly. Perfect. He's
We'll
like,
go with that.
yeah, we saw Bob and me go with his hands up in the air, doing something.
We prefer to call it organized chaos.
Organized, exactly. My whole world is organized chaos. The conscientious personality, watching and thinking again, detail oriented, slower to act, questioning, skeptical, detached. That's not me. Primary concern is quality. And you will have some people you work with, they don't care about your personal life. They don't care if something's hurting. They don't care. They just want you to do your job and shut your mouth. I'm sure you've never met any of those or been one of those. So that's a different personality. Let's get it done. Let's get it done right. No jokes, get to work. So they're more time to plan, time action. That's it. Time is money. Y'all have heard that before. So when we get the DISC personality test, that's what you're going to go do right now is take this exciting personality test and find out what kind of personality you have. Let me see. I'll have to probably, because you're not online with this, I'll give you Well, you have a, I want to know which, I don't want you to do both because that's going to take too much time. I think this Jung's theory personality type test is a little bit quicker. So I'm going to, if you go in to your browser, and I'll go see how this works. I think this one because you're online. And you can go to Google or Yahoo. I'm just going to go to Yahoo for right now. I don't know why. Google usually works better. But if you put in JUNGS theory of personality, see if it'll come up that way. If it don't, I'll tell you the test that you need to take.
Say that one more time, please.
It is, I went to Google this time, and it's just like in your book, JUNGS theory of personality. Let's see if they have the one I want. There's Myers-Briggs. I don't think it is going to come with the one I want. I may have to tell you a different way. I can, but can everybody see their chat? Does everybody know how to use their chat on Zoom?
Yeah.
Then I can give you the link and just go make sure it's still working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you know, sometimes, and sometimes they try to charge you, and we are not going for being charged. Let's see if it'll work. There should be a test right there. Let me see if I can find an easier way. Okay, here it is. And this is, let me make this easier for you too. You could probably even search, but I'm going to put up a Word document. This is the website that you can go straight to get you. Can you see it, or are you on my other screen?
We're on your other screen.
Okay. What you see right now, yourselves?
Your dog.
Your dog.
That's all you see?
Yep.
Huh. That scares me because I got something else on there. Let's see if this will work. I'm typing this for you to make it easier. You see anything besides
there you go.
dog?
Yeah, no, we got it.
So you could probably just put in www.humanmetrics.com and it come up. But this is the actual website you will type in, or you can even put in humanmetrics.com and it'll probably come up at the search. But this is the actual link you will use to get there. And this will put you on an exam, not a real exam, but it just says Jung is what it looks like, Jung's topology test.
Oh, I had it.
So this is what it looks like when you get there. I'll get that out of the way. So you're going to say, yes, you really think that applies to you, or yes, maybe a little, you don't know, no, a little, or no, very strong. So that's how that personality works. Has everybody been able to find it?
I've got it.
Hang on 1 second.
No problem. We got time.
You almost.
Oh, there's a lot of questions.
Yes, there's 75, I think, but
64.
Oh, there's only 64. You're lucky. There was 75 last time I took it. They do edits.
Did you want us to do this now?
I do. I want
Okay.
you to do it right now.
Okey-dokey.
If everybody got the web address, I can put that down.
No.
Okay. Well, it can stay up. I'll take it while you're taking it. And don't overthink. Just answer. Just don't overthink it.
Oh, Okay.
So you just take your time and tell me when you're done. Some of y'all still working?
Yeah.
I'm quick because I've seen these same questions over and over. So I
good.
recognize them. There was only one new one this time.
I'm good to go.
Okay. And take your time.
All right. This should be interesting.
Yes. And for once y'all finish, you can actually look at the other things that says mine's ENFP, type description, staff development and teamwork, pre-employment. You can look at these, just like the careers, it tells you what it thinks your job, what kind of job you should be in.
Will you just scroll down for that?
I went in and I just clicked here on the link where it says type description, careers.
Oh, okay.
And they also, one of them tells you like people that are famous that you're like. I want to know how they know what King David's like. I don't think he's been alive since we started this personality test, but I could be wrong. For sure, King David's back in the Bible. Now it's before they came up with Jung's theory of personality types. So you see famous. Let's see who I'm like famous wise. Mark Twain, Will Rogers.
How do you find your score again?
When you put in when you finish and submit, it'll come up to this.
Right.
That's your score. And we'll talk about that when everybody's done, what it means.
Where do you see who you're like?
When you see under, mine says careers, there's like famous people. You can click famous people.
There you
and
go.
It'll tell you who you're like. There'll even be pretend people you're like. I am always like Ariel in The Little Mermaid. And Steve Urkel. Thanks.
I've got Terry Bradshaw for those of you who live in Pittsburgh.
Also got Terry Bradshaw.
Hey, I got Carol Burnett. I'll take her over that.
Jim Carrey.
I got Woody Harrelson from Cheers.
I love Woody Harrelson.
Jim Carrey, Pet Detective. That's me.
And I got Andy Kaufman, and he was on Taxi for any of those that remember that. And he was a little bit special.
Little bit.
Hey, I'm being positive. I'm being a positive spin on it. Is anybody still taking it?
How do you find out who you're like?
When you come to that point, you'll see that says of careers, and you can go down and click on any of those. The one that says famous, whatever you were.
I'd be concerned about you, Michelle. It looked like you had Bill Cosby there.
Hey, that's wrong.
It's right there. Ghost Dad.
I don't. That's when he was on Ghost Dad. That was his personality. We'll think that.
Yes.
I think I'm positive.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm not sure about being like Dr. Seuss either. I think he was on a lot of medication when he wrote those books.
They said I'm like Peyton Manning for that guy in Indianapolis.
That I'm like Mary Tyler Moore. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome.
It also says I'm Tim the Toolman Taylor.
There you go.
Hey, I like that one. I'm like Iron Man. And Sandra Bullock, I like her. And Robin Williams, you know, he had some problems, but I really liked him. But a lot of mine are comedians. I don't know what that means. I don't know what they mean by that. Everybody about finished? Jason,
What president are you compared to?
President?
Clinton.
Nixon.
Nixon.
Roosevelt.
I don't think I have a president.
You don't have a president, Michelle?
No,
I got two.
I have Will Smith.
They said I'm like Abraham Lincoln and Ronald Reagan.
And I'm like the comedian Sinbad. There you go. Tom DeLuise.
Mine said, oops, there's an error, so I might have broke mine.
Oh, no. Well, we'll talk about, hopefully, maybe you just missed something. I don't know.
It said score it at the bottom. It was 64 questions, and
And
it bothers me. Now I'm intrigued. I want to know. What does that say?
that says that, I don't know. We'll find out.
You got the high score.
Yeah, if you do it again or you reset, we'll talk about it while you do that. If you want to, or you can do it after, whichever way.
No, I want to redo. Y'all go ahead.
Okay, you go ahead. So now it says and I'm going to enlarge so I can see everybody on this other screen. I swear our numbers are dwindling. Are we still all here? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I thought there's 14 of us. I thought there were 14 of us. Did someone just like, poof, there they went. I'll find out. I'll look at my list while we're talking.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. So I am an ENFP. All that means I am 34% stronger in the extrovert than I am introvert. I am stronger in the intuitive, 28%, the feeling, 59%, and the perceiving, 9%. All that means is I'm more perceiving than I am in judging. That's the same ones. So let's see. 1, what are you? What letters are you?
ISTJ.
So you're an introvert.
Sensing, thinking, and judging.
Okay. So usually I think I'm more intuitive, I guess, but that just means, again, that you are the opposite of mine, every one of them, I believe. And that just means you're stronger in that area.
Okay.
How about Jason Bauer?
I am ESTJ, so extrovert, sensing, thinking, and judging.
So 1, were you an introvert?
Me, yes.
So you think you're not as comfortable talking out with people?
No, not. I had bad experience in college and bad experience in high school, so yeah.
Okay. Well, and that, as we talk about it, sometimes it's surprising that people are really introvert, because you have to come across as an extrovert as an instructor, and you want to seem secure. So the fact that you're more comfortable not being in front of people, that says a lot for you if you can't tell. So, and then as an instructor, you have to at least give the pretense of being extrovert, even if you're not, because you have to talk in front of people.
Yeah.
How about Bob? What are you?
INTP.
INTP.
Introverted, intuitive, thinking, and perceiving.
Perfect. And how about, let's see where you are. I've lost you. Where is Joe Butler?
There.
I'm like, where are you? You moved in my squares again.
I'm a ESFG, and Bill Clinton was the president.
Oh, man. Watch him. Watch him. Don't you be smoking those cigars. So now we go in next. We have Tom Carter. Where's Tom? Or is that who? There he is at the top. I tell you. What was yours?
I started it and got kicked out of it somehow and redoing it now. So you
That
guys
is
just
fine.
keep going on.
You're down there with Jason. That's okay. How about, and if y'all gonna have to quit jumping around. Do we have, no. There you are. Raymond, there you are. You're at the bottom. Ray.
I landed the ISTP.
IFTP.
Like ISTP, like Bruce Lee. Steve Jobs.
Oh man.
Yeah, I landed some doozies.
You got some good ones. I told you, most of my comedians don't know what that means. How about Ryan? What'd you get?
I had ENTJ.
Okay.
But the first two were like 3%, 6%. It wasn't like a big number.
And I think a lot, I've seen one that was like 1%. I had never seen one that was so strong and extrovert. They only were, or 99, excuse me, 99% more extrovert than introvert. That's the strongest one I'd ever seen. But yeah, most of us, we can go either way. Like I can talk out in a crowd, but when I've been around too many people, I want to go chill and be by myself in the quiet. Before I teach, I get up early enough so I have some chill out time before I have to talk to people. So that could go either way. So now is Jason King. You're not there yet? Don't worry, we'll come back.
Okay.
How about, yeah, I'm like, okay, it's good. Do we have, oh yeah, we have Donald Jervis that you jumped to the right now. How about you?
I had ESFP, the strongest one being in feeling at 44%.
Cool. And I base things on feelings, like my gut. I listen to my gut sometimes. And, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I think our instincts, as we age, especially with so many life experiences, our instincts are better. We become stronger. We've got a lot of experiences and we know how things are going to go sometimes. So we do not have William Miller. Is that correct? He was not here. He's still not here. How about Thad? What you got, Thad?
I got ENFJ.
You were so close. You were almost the same as me.
ENFJ.
How strong were you on E?
25%.
Cool. And how about Brandon?
ESFJ. And sensing at 34%.
Cool. Did I miss anybody?
Me.
Who's me?
Harlan.
Oh, Harlan, you're not on my list.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you are. You are. I just can't read.
He's at the bar.
I'm a computer teacher.
I'm at the bar. Falling off my stool here.
That's the problem. Go ahead, Harlan. Tell me, what are you?
I've got ESFJ. Extrovert was 50, but my percentages don't equal 100, which is interesting. And my personality comparison was Tommy Chong. What's up with that?
Oh, well, you're at the bar, but you're at like a hookah bar, I guess. You at the hookah bar? Did you Tom and Jason, have you came back around yet?
I'm still on 30.
Okay, no problem. And Donald looked like right then he was at the hookah bar.
And no idea what you're talking about.
I was like, that vape. I'm like, he doesn't know what a hookah bar is. That's good. So all these mean, and they don't equal 100. It just means you have a stronger personality, a percentage over one as opposed to the other. So if 34% of 100, you are more extrovert than you are introvert. How they come up with these percentages, I'm not really sure. Like you said, they don't equal 100. But that's how, and you can go on different ones of these, and they're pretty much the same. The questions are different. And that doesn't mean if you're a judger that you judge people. That
I was
doesn't
going to ask you that.
yeah, you're not a judge. That's not what it means. It's just the way you learn and your personality, and you would judge before you do. That doesn't mean you're out judging people. And the other people that didn't have the feeling doesn't mean you don't have feelings. That just means you may go more more logical than you do like on a feeling sometimes. So that's what those mean. And once you get them completely, you can go in and see your full description. This is the type description. You can click on any of those and it'll tell you more. Oh, I am the warmest, kindest, and most sympathetic. Unless you're my high school student and you lie to me and then my head starts spinning like The Exorcist. It's not true. I do have red hair, even though it looks orange on here.
I'm sorry to interrupt. My wife just called me and she got into a car accident. Nothing bad. She's okay. She's gonna call police. So I might have to go and pick her up because her car does not work.
Oh, I am so sorry. We'll see you tomorrow. That's understandable.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Tell your wife I'm so sorry.
Yeah, she's crying. So
You've got to go help that wife.
Yeah.
I understand.
So just homework. Same homework's the same since the beginning.
And then
Okay.
you go on and you tell me 3 things for the first chapters you read last night.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I hope she's okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh man, that stinks. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
So when we go in, that's what it's telling us. It doesn't mean, and you can go in through your personalities. And for those of you that haven't got there yet, that is fine. But when we talk more about, you can go here and look at the other people's personality types and tell which one's is strong, which one's stronger. But again, none of those mean that you're a judger or you're, oh, you just think with your feelings. There's more involved with that. And I'm going to go back over here. And once you take it, the test, which we did, and that will help too, you just understand more how you perceive people. And so if you go out and you look for your learning type, or you even click that link, it'll tell you more about it. So when that falls into easily through communication, because how we communicate has a lot to do with how we've been raised, again, our personality styles, how we talk, our tones. It does have a lot to do with everything. And communication and diversity. Now, how many of you are married or have a significant other? And if you have a wife or a girlfriend, how many of you think men and women think differently?
Oh, yeah.
So even if you have a sister or a daughter, and that's just one form of being diverse, is a woman and a man. So that is huge right there. Then you get into ages. People different ages perceive things different ways. All this, learning styles, personalities, and now we get into different diverse populations that we are totally different in the way we think things. You can be saying something that makes total sense to you, and the person that you're talking to will hear it a totally different way. Anybody had that problem before?
Yep.
And it could be the mood they're in when they come into the conversation. It could be something that happened the day before. They already had in their mind what you're going to say. So they're stuck in that thought, even if that's not what you were going to talk about. So all of this is in with conversation and why it's so hard to communicate with people. So individual differences, their personality types, their learning styles, their life experiences. I just told you all that, and I didn't even read my screens. I'm so good. I'm just kidding. I didn't read my screens. I'm like, yes. So when you come in, and that's just one aspect, then you come into group and social differences, what people were raised with, different parenting styles they had. Some people didn't have any parents. So all of this does come into play. How do they listen to someone in authority? How they listen to your tone. So there's more to communication. And they've got, your race comes into play, the class, sex, gender, and now we've got gender identity and expression. So not only, and this is not being negative, sometimes on some of my students, I honestly don't know if they're male or female. So, and that's, they may be one there's gender neutral now. So I can't tell. I'm sure not going to ask them. I don't want to call them he or she and be rude. So that's probably why I call everybody angels or something like that, because angel could be male or female. But there's so many things that come into play: cultural, political. We don't even want to get that started in the way things are right now. Religious, spirituality, mental health status. That's also, there's a lot of people that think differently because that's the way their brain is wired. Language. How many of you have students that are English as a second language? So that's to do too. And you have a second language just in your field sometimes, what you call tools and what you call things that if you went into a store and used that terminology, they would not know what you were talking about unless they're in the trade.
Yeah, give me a booger hook. Yeah.
Yeah, and lick out the bucket. Somebody was painting and they were licking out the bucket. I went, now I know. But when you first were licking out your bucket, I didn't know what you were talking about. I'm like, what? So all of that comes into play when you have diverse personalities. And I swear, every time I look at the news, they come up with something new I didn't think about. Phil Harper sending me the pothole commercial. Right. So now, what are some diversity issues that are affecting today's class? Has any of you had any issues come up with, and something, especially with disabilities, there's something some people just can't do. I mean, you couldn't be in a wheelchair and be on a bridge painter. You just can't. I mean, that's something you can't help. And there's some students you're going to have that just can't get it. That's horrible, but that's the reality. If they can't do the job, that is out of your control. And some just can't learn, you know, just like I was saying, I'm not very good at math. That's just not my stronghold. Some things I'm really good at, some things I'm not. So this is talking about how you have to change your classroom sometimes to not single people out or not discriminate. You know, you have to be really careful now. It says, hi, sweetie, how was school today? It says, you can read about it on my blog, Dad. That's sad too.
Oh.
Yeah, you can. Kids now post everything. They're way too social. I don't want to be friends with them on any of that stuff because they would traumatize me. Even the ringtone sometimes traumatize me. So the way people communicate, students now, I've had two people sitting in a room together on a couch. They're both texting. I'm like, well, what are y'all doing? Why aren't y'all hanging out together? We're talking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, who are you talking to? Each other. I'm like, unless you're making fun of us, why are you talking to each other on the cell phone? That's where we feel more comfortable. Use your words. But that is the reality. You'll have the young kids, they're texting each other, laughing, and they're not having a conversation. They're communication. So that is a generational issue. That is diversity. He said, when I was your age, being wireless was a claim only a trapeze artist could make. Well, you know, wireless, now you're on the phone. And a lot of words have changed meanings over the years. What used to be a word that meant one thing, now like fat. You call me fat, I'm thinking you mean I am fat. Roly poly. Now it's like, no, you're cool, you're fat. I'm like, no, no, that's not what that word means. So they come up with all different slang.
PH.
I don't know, most of you may be in the same thing, a maturist, baby boomer, Generation X, there I am. Millennial. And now I forget what they call the newest ones. They may be Y. I think they may be
I think
Z.
it's Y.
Are they Y?
I think it's Y.
Generation Y. Yeah, we're like, why? What is wrong with you? Why do you act that way? That's a good letter for them. That's that. And first it was the millennials people made fun of. I've had millennials in my classroom. So it's just a generalization. If you go out, you'll find that people call these different names, and some of them have different ages of when they're born. But if you do think about it, it does have a huge impact. Like the ones that were born during when Vietnam was really prevalent. I mean, that would be, or even older, where they had in the time when they had no money, they had no cars, and we had the depression. Nobody had anything. They were starving, and that would really have an effect on them. When they get to some of us, 9/11, that happened right when they were growing up. That's a huge thing too. And we were laughing because how it said that Clinton, one of y'all are Clinton had a big, the Clinton and Monica Lewinsky had a big impact on them. Well, that's because they were having it on the news all the time. So of course it had more to do with them, because like when I was younger, we don't put that on the news. That's private. And when some of the maturists were younger, they didn't even have on TV, the adults that were married were not able to sleep in the same bed because that was inappropriate. So you see how the way they think, even with commercials and life, is so different. And that's what I was talking about. Maturists come to age during the Great Depression, driven by ideas, duty, sacrifice, loyalty. And that doesn't mean any of the younger people don't, but value quality over speed and efficiency. Again, this is relative to whoever wrote it. Baby boomers, the original me generation, started thinking more about themselves, came to age during post-war prosperity. The Cold War in the 1960s focused on prosperity and change. Work ethic measured in FaceTime, like face-to-face, not FaceTime on your iPhone, didn't have iPhones yet. But then committed to team. They like to work together and seek services that help them regain control of their time, concerned with status and individuality. So when we get in now to Generation X, questions authority, carpe diem attitude, and all of these, again, it just depends on who wrote it. Doesn't mean all of them prefer open communication, but it's just a generalization. So I'm not going to read them all, but you can read through them and see if you feel like that is more relevant to when you were born. Can spot a phony a mile away if you're Generation X. That's awesome. And that is, they just started embracing technology. If you think about it, I never had computers in high school. They had big, huge computers somewhere in a room where you had to wear those white suits like you were going in for contamination for COVID. But that was back in those days. We didn't have computers in the classroom. Kids now start on them. They hand them a cell phone when they're 2 sometimes. Some of them have their own cell phone at 2. That scares me a little bit. So they've always had some type of computer in their hands. So of course they think of things differently. That's the way they were brought up. And here we go, millennials. They have so much. We didn't have social network. They had internet, tech savvy. They're not very good on communication. It says seek open, constant communication. Yes, but if it's online, they're not good with person-to-person communication. Not as well, but the next one, which is why they're really poor on communication. They're good communicating on the cell phone or online, but they're not good at face-to-face communication. So now we're not going to take a Jeopardy, but we are going to take where I just think I'll play this at the end. There's a millennial video that's I think is funny. So it just makes me laugh every time I hear it. I see what time we're on right now. I don't want to run over. I know all of y'all got to go back. 3:41. So when it says cultural issues in the workplace, things that you don't always think about, and you may not have that many personalities, or you might. Even some places like China, some places in China, they don't believe in shaking hands. There's some different countries that don't believe in getting their picture taken. They think it sucks their soul. It takes their soul to have their picture made. You may think that's silly, or you may not understand it, but that's what they've always been taught. And when we get into religion, some religions, that's what they've always been taught. That's where they come from. If you were raised in a different country, then you may have a totally different religion, a total different outlook, because you were raised somewhere different. So I'm not saying you're going to agree with everything your students think, but you should at least, within reason, have respect for it. Now, if there's satanic worship and they're killing people, I might have a problem with it. But other than that, it's none of my business. You have to at least have some respect for it and try to understand where they're coming from and a different point of view. And that's not always easy. Individualism versus collectivism. And you'll get some people that are really self-reliant, self-assured, and it could be even where they're raised. Where some women are raised, they don't have as much worth. That's the reality. Or you've got people that think, oh, you're a different color skin or a different sex is not the same. You've got a lot of different ideals that come in, customs, language, communication. And when they come into English as a second language, they may not always understand what you're talking about. Of course, you have some people that can't hear as well, especially out in the field if they've had a lot of damage to their ears over the years. It's hard for them to understand you. So these are just talking about different cultural issues that could come into the workplace or the learning environment, how they see relationships different, what they think is appropriate and isn't appropriate, values, their knowledge, mindfulness. All of these are just different things that come in and how they view. Because just because we think one way, that doesn't mean it's right for everybody. All of us, some of you were talking about magically football. Not all of you think the same team is the good team. I may be wrong about that, but it sure sounds like it. So that doesn't mean any one of you are wrong. You're like, they're wrong. My team's best. But that just means you have different opinions. And all this goes through, like the handshake I told you about. You just got to be careful. Some people, and there's some people that think, and this is a woman thing, if you put your purse down on the floor, it is bad luck. Then I've got horrible luck because I just throw that thing anywhere. But some people really believe if they put their stuff on the floor, it's bad luck. That's what they believe. It doesn't matter if we understand it. It's not that, a lot of it's not that big a deal. We can at least respect it. I'm going to show you the last thing just to give you an idea and give us something to laugh about. At the end of class day, and this is just makes me laugh about if I can find him. He makes me laugh. I like him. Every time I see him, I'm like, can you see all these?
You'll be
There
singing along to the song in no time.
Oh yeah, this pops in my head now all the time. I go.
We watched it here together.
Yeah, that was on the instructor lounge.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
They posted. I just think, did everybody see it? It's just I wish they made these. Can you see him?
Mm-hmm.
They need to make them for every one of the generations. I love him. I think they should have him for all of them. He would be awesome. She posts lots of selfies on her Instagram with the quote that's inspiration. Hopes to change the world by wearing yoga pants on with her dreams and knowledge of essential oils. There's nothing wrong with essential oils.
Or yoga pants.
Yoga pants. Yeah.
I love yoga pants. I love him. Maybe stop by leaving your parents home. bad. One of my students, he was a millennial. He goes, I take offense to that. I'm like, that's just a joke. I wish he'd do it for my generation. I think he's cute.
That's good.
Yeah.
But that's just a cute way to break it up at the end of the day.
That's a good song.
I do. I wish he had it for all of them. I need to send that man an email saying, can't you do them from all the generations? Because I bet he would have a lot to say about all of us.
Yeah.
But in the video, sometimes just breaks it up when you've had a long day, even though it hasn't been too hard on you this time. Hopefully everybody can get on instructor. Did she fix you, Don? Donald, did she fix you? Okay. Tom, did you get fixed yet? Are you fixed with the instructor lounge, Tom?
I do believe so. If not, Phil said he's going to check when he gets off his conference call.
Okay, perfect. Put Phil to work, that little brat.
Yeah.
Tell him I'll
And
play. Tell him
quit
he'll have
sending you stuff.
if he wants to play the pothole, he'll have to do it on your computer because I'm not playing it. He told me play it for everybody. Of course, I played millennial, so I might before it's over with. But I know. It's like, did I do that? I'm a pothole. Yeah. Bah. So now that does sound like it. I know. I want y'all to read. There's that y'all. It's in my, no matter how many years I go to college, it's still going to be y'all. That's the way I talk. I don't care. So make sure you do the 2 chapters from last night. Jason, you got the link?
Yep, good to go.
Perfect. So if you've already read it, you're on the ball. Hopefully you learned something. So put those out there. Read chapter 10. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. Have y'all learned anything yet?
Oh yeah, just the way of thinking. It's changed my whole, it's making me more comfortable being a teacher, even though I teach in the field every day. Oh yeah, leaps and bounds every day. We appreciate you.
And we were talking about how your brain is so tired. I went to bed last night at like 9 o'clock. What the heck? This old woman taking her cane to bed, I guess. When's nursing homes next? So I want to make sure. Yes, I know I'm very energetic. I don't even need caffeine. So that's what they all make fun of me. I'm sure those little sweeties that are walking in behind you that have been in my class before can tell you I am the same all the time.
That's good. It's hard to find.
But I think that's better. I'd rather be myself all the time than have to come up with a different personality. It's too exhausting. So I want y'all to read that. Think about what we talked about today, because at the very end, which is tomorrow already, good gracious, it's weird. I'm used to 5 days. I am going to ask you something you've learned and probably make you tell us one thing you've learned, even if it's how to access LMS. That'll make me happy. Or some good candy you had, which is wrong. So y'all have a wonderful afternoon, and I will be back on tomorrow, and we'll figure out what's going next. Are y'all good for now?
Yes.
Very good.
Everybody get their answers for anything you had questions on?
We're good.
Yes.
Everybody staying awake? That's awesome. Alice, you still there? She may have had another. Oh,
I'm
there
here.
Well, we're getting ready to get off. They've got their homework assignment. I think you got everybody set.
Okay.
So I think we're exiting the Zoom.
All right. I will not be on tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Nicole said she's on tomorrow.
I think Tom might stop in tomorrow.
Okay.
Lunchtime.
He can say hi to everybody. He usually does. So that'll be cool.
Yeah. So he might get on.
Okay, that'll be
I'll
perfect.
remind him.
Okay. So if anybody thinks of anything, I talked to one of you last night, you can text me, you can email me, and that's fine. So if you need anything, tell me. Everybody good?
Yes.
Yep.
I will see y'all tomorrow.
All righty.
Have a good
Good night.
afternoon.
Have a great night, guys.